Hi, everyone. Welcome to the April edition for Zodiac Sisters with Life Cycles Yoga. I am Serena, and I am joined today with my Zodiac sister, Tonja.
Hello.
I'm a Virgo. She's a Pisces. So we are interconnected in the stars. And today we have a special guest, starting with Aries season, one of my most favorite Aries. My Sigrid, thank you so much for joining us. Sigrid is coming in from North Dakota, so Bismarck, North Dakota.
Oh, sure.
She owns Transitions Yoga up there, which I will link to her website if you'd like to connect with her, if that's where you're located as well. Sigrid and I met during our 300-hour yoga teacher training here in Longmont, Colorado, at the Longmont Climbing Collective through Shri Studios. So we were both students when we were graduating with our 300-hour, got to know each other a lot, and became really good friends. And I'm just so grateful to have you in my life. I always tell her, like, I love your Aries fire. Like, I feed off of her and the creativity, the energy, and the ideas, right? And so I have been really, really blessed to be able to go up to the North Dakota Yoga Conference, which is located in Bismarck. And I've been able to present there a couple years, which has been really, really fantastic, meeting the amazing yoga community up there, and being involved, and so just staying in each other's lives. So thank you so much, Sigrid, for joining us today to talk about Aries, a real live Aries in the house. And so
It's the fire truck. That's all you need to know.
We're gonna tap into that fire today. So again, I'm Serena. Tonja and I are located in Colorado, coming to you over the interwebs. Happy to have you here. Today we're going to go over checking in on March, and then we're going to look forward to April as well, and then chat a little bit about yoga for the month, for the Aries season as well. All right, Tonja, you want to say a little something or introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Tonja. Serena and I were just talking about how we met. We met probably about 7 years ago at Full Circle Yoga here in Longmont. I was one of the students who I appreciate early morning yoga, and Full Circle offered a 5:30 a.m. class on Fridays. So I would hit that up, and Serena was there, and that's how we met.
Yeah.
Sometimes we would find ourselves just us two in the yoga class. So we got to chat and really get to know each other. So that's my connection to you.
Yeah.
And what else about me? I am here and excited and ready to hang out with Sigrid and get to know a little more about Aries.
Sigrid,
Awesome.
Will give us a little background in how you came into yoga. And then I know, it's probably a lot, but just feel free to share, and also anything, and we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the astrology if you want to wait on that, but just maybe chat a little bit about your journey with yoga.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And it's very nice to meet you, Tonja, and see your lovely face again, Miss Serena. My journey into yoga I got tricked. It was really 100% how it happened. I used to own a boutique shoe store, and the people that I got to work with knew somebody that taught yoga, and I had never done yoga. I wasn't athletic. I survived on coffee and chocolate. I mean, that was basically my diet, and that's how I, got my cardio in. But then they tricked me into this class, and we brought someone in and we did a trade for shoes. So they got a credit for shoes, and came in and taught privates to staff early in the mornings. I was an early girl at the time also. And I loved it.
Yeah.
It physically helped me move my body, which is why most of us come to the mat in the first place, is just to move our bodies.
Yeah.
But internally and in my soul, it healed me. So I'd had a lot of things happen in the past that I didn't realize were just still lurking in the background.
Yeah. Right.
And Dana would say, the teacher would say, we're going to move into pigeon. I'd be like, under my breath, swear at her and then start to cry, and then I'd go into it. And so that was for a year, every week. I cried every time I went to Pigeon because I only did it one time a week
Wow.
because I mean, you can't just
Yeah.
take it once a week, right?
Yeah.
And from there, I loved it. I ended up moving somewhere else to a very small town. I went to a local big gym and I went to a yoga class and I was like, "Ooh," I called my soon to be husband, "Oh, where did you take me?" It's a
Yeah.
very, very small town. I was like, "Where did you take me? I don't know what's happening here." And I said, "I think I need to take teacher training." So I called my teacher, Mary Beth, at the time, and I was like, "Hey, I know training starts on Friday, like 3 days from now. I
Yeah.
would love to start training. And then I also have to fly back somewhere. So I need to leave early on Sunday. Does that work?" And she's like, "That'd be great."
Wow.
And that was, I don't even know, 18 years ago, 19 years ago. It was a
Yeah.
while ago. I
Yeah.
mean, I was pretty young when that happened.
Uh-huh.
I was not. Yeah, I discovered most of this after the age of 30, this whole movement and breath thing and
Yeah.
connecting to self. And I started teaching. And from there, it just blossomed into so much more. I let a lot of crap go.
Yep.
I grew within myself. I got more confident in myself. I um, discovered that I have skills as a teacher. And
Yeah.
so when we moved to Bismarck in 2000, let's say 17,
Uh-huh.
because it'll be however many years here. In 2017, we moved, whenever. Anyway, a while back, we moved to Bismarck and I went to go apply someplace to teach because that's what I had done. Taught in Richmond, I taught in Minneapolis, I taught in a bunch of different places. And
Yeah.
when I moved to Bismarck, I went to this local place and I said, "Hey, I want to teach." And they're like, "We would love to have you. We can pay you $12.50 an hour." And I go, did you see my extensive resume? Like I have a lot of hours and all the things that I've done and all the training I've taken and all these things. And they're like, we gave you the bump. And I was like, awesome.
Like a whole nother show, Sigrid, and I want to go
Yeah.
in terms of yoga. Yes,
Yeah. So
I
they were
feel
like, "We
you.
gave you the bump." And I was like, well, I'm going to bump out of here.
Yeah,
And
I'm bumping out. Peace
yeah,
out.
I took a big leap of faith. I had never taught in
Yeah.
Bismarck before.
Yeah.
I just had friends here and not many people had tried a more traditional practice before. And I'd said, screw it,
Yeah.
in a more colorful language. And I started a studio.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, I started it with there was a chiropractor in town that had space in the back of her office that she wasn't
Yeah.
using. We
Yeah.
worked out a deal and it fit 8 people. And I said, let's just figure it out. And if nobody shows up, I guess I'm making $12.50 and
Yeah.
a non-compete and a freaking non-compete.
Whoa. Really?
Yeah. No shit.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I've
Yeah.
never come across that. And if I would, I'd be like, I don't think so.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I started my
Wow.
own studio. I was like, oh, that was a kick in the hiney I needed.
Yeah.
So then my fire
absolutely.
kicked in and I had a whole bunch of, I'd already been like, had a whole bunch of ideas in my
Uh-huh.
brain.
Yeah.
And I was just like, screw it and let's just go. And then I
Yeah.
am, as you know, once it's like a dog with a sock, like, let's go. I have an idea. Let's go. Like,
Yeah,
is it
I
going to
know
work?
that.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have a full plan? No, I do
No.
not.
That's why I
I
love
have
like
no
texting
plan.
you, like,
Yeah.
I'm struggling with this, and you're like, do this, this, and this, and I'm like, I'm on it. Because I need that fire. I need that, like, okay, that's it. That's it. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I love that about you, that creative idea. And a lot of that comes from your Aries sun and your Pisces moon.
Yeah, that
And
was
we'll
just,
get into that a little bit more.
it was so, yeah. So we did all of that. And then all of a sudden now we are in, oh my heck, we're in year 7 or 8. Oh my gosh. I need a calendar somewhere or maybe like an anniversary thing or a reminder.
Okay.
But we are teaching 200-hour
Yeah.
teacher trainings across the states. We teach them in our Bismarck. We teach them in Fargo. We also teach in Williston, and both of those locations are 2.5 or 3.5 hours away.
Yeah.
We also started finally started our advanced teacher training program, that 300-hour here in
Huge.
the state.
Amazing.
We have 2 studios. All of this stuff started because I was like, let's just try. And we
Yeah.
have, oh my heck,
Yeah.
20 some teachers
Uh-huh.
that I get to work with on a daily basis. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, so fantastic. And I love the offerings of your studio. Like there's so many amazing offerings. Like she does the aerial yoga too with the silks.
Awesome.
So cool. And like just a really big, nice combination. Like it could be hips and hamstrings. It could be regular vinyasa, restorative. Now you are doing like the sound bowls with Tara and you have some origami class with sound bowls. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool.
That sounds really cool.
It's really unique. It's not just like, okay, we're going to do another inversion workshop. You know, inversions are great, but they're not for everybody. But it's like the uniqueness of that. And I think I just saw like Angie's doing a down dog workshop. Like
She just did that one. Yeah. Breaking
Cool.
down your up dog and down dog. And then at the
Yeah.
end of the month, she has end of April, I should say,
pranayama.
a pranayama workshop. Yep. She's been, as we are all
Yeah.
students for the rest of our lives, even as we are teachers,
Yeah.
we should all be students first. That's my soapbox. She's been taking a training with Eddie Stern and a bunch of other people out in New York online, of course.
Yeah.
It's an 8-week course on pranayama. And so she is bringing all that she trained with Wim Hof. She did a bunch of other trainings.
Yeah.
She does stuff down at the river and bringing in,
Yeah.
like the true essence of why we secretly come to yoga, but we don't know it, is that pranayama
Yeah.
piece.
I mean, that is so amazing. And I remember her river stuff when I was there in October. She's like, you want to come down to the river in the morning? And I'm like, oh, maybe. I think that's amazing.
Yeah,
Like,
we're gonna look at it. No, we're gonna get in it.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I'm like, that's cold, right?
Yeah, even when it's cold and I see those pictures of her in the snow and stuff. And, I mean, just the way that you support and build your teachers in their development and evolution of their yoga practice and as students and your students is really inspiring and beautiful. And
Thank you.
I wish
Yeah.
that I lived up there. Like I'm considering that. So I think I'm just gonna, move the camper up there for the summer with the kids. Because I want to take all these things.
Come to the lake.
And all of the trainings, like I actually went up to do the yin training last May. So it's been almost a year with Stephanie. So, just a valuable resource is amazing. So, I want to go over, well, I just want to, make sure, is that all you'd like to share before I get into my astrology spiel and talking about Aries?
Oh, spiel me, go, do it. I want to hear all
Okay.
your things, Serena. Isn't she the best, Tonja? Just giving you all her things. And you're like, oh, you're giving me direction in my life. Or that explains why the hot mess.
By a hot mess. No way. When we met, I did a reading for you in the summer of 2020. So like a natal chart reading, and a natal chart reading is what you were born with. So it's the snapshot of the sky when you came earthside. And so when you get a reading done like that, it tells us about our personality. It helps us kind of understand our identity in life, our true nature. And so that's why I love the study of astrology, parallel to the study of yoga, living our yoga, because yoga helps us come back to our true self. And so does astrology. And so we did that in 2020, and knowing you as an Aries sun, right? Identifying in this identity of Aries, which is the first sign of the Zodiac. It's the infant, it's the baby, it's the beginning of all. Your moon sign is Pisces. So Pisces is the last sign of the Zodiac, right? And it is the womb, it is nurturing, it is loving and compassionate, which
Tanya's my sun, I'm her moon.
Yeah. Water and fire. So there you go. And then your rising sign is Taurus. And so Taurus is ruled by Venus. So beauty and pleasures. And it's rules like basic needs. So kind of understanding that foundation of what people need, right? Your outlook on life is looking at others, intuitively knowing what others need too, which is the secret power, because that Pisces intuition. A few things that you said, which I want to pull back to Aries, because ultimately that's what drives our life force, right? The sun is the life force. So I noticed when you were chatting, saying things, you said, I took a leap of faith. For Aries, that is like the ultimate mantra.
Da, da, da.
I have faith in myself. I have the courage to just do it. So that's why Aries season allows us and gives us, we were just talking about this in book club this morning, about having that courage to just do it, not thinking about everything else, right? And sometimes that can be a downfall of fire signs, of not thinking ahead of like, well, how are we going to follow through? Or like, who's going to do this? And will we even accomplish it? But, you know, having those resources, and I feel like your earthy rising sign helps you do that, because Taurus is very much in that aspect of understanding the persistence, the drive. So leap of faith, right? That shows me your courage and your bravery, which I see in yourself. And then also business and entrepreneur. Every single Aries I've ever met has been an entrepreneur, has started some sort of business, has started some sort of nonprofit, has started something. Like it's incredible. And I just smile every time when I meet someone. I'm Aries. Oh yeah. And I own this business. I'm like, oh, okay. I do it. I love that about you. And you were working in business prior to this in the shoe, which I think is really interesting. The shoes, right? Pisces is the feet.
Oh, well, there you have it.
Your Pisces moon. Taurus is the throat chakra, being able to express yourself, to open up, to share. And then Aries is the head. So question that I have about you in terms of your head, right? The flip side of Aries is burnout. And we've talked a lot about that. Going too much, too fast, too many times, setting things on fire, like, not being able to rest. So does burnout to you, does it kind of show up as headaches at all, or migraines, or do you have anything going on with the head, sinuses, anything, ears, stuff like that? I'm curious.
Not really. Mine is when I get burned out, I do nothing. I don't literally have to lay down. There's no, I can go and then when I am done, it's done. 20-minute nap.
20-minute nap. Nice. Yoga
instantaneous
for you.
Yeah, like narcolepsy almost.
Wow. So when you burn out and you're done and you're laying down, are you sensitive to sounds or light or smells or anything? Because like, could you just lay down while
anywhere?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anywhere.
That is also military training. That's military training. It's like you get a chance to lay down and you're tired. And we're ready.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
At night though, when it's time to go to sleep time, then I have a little mask that I wear and all. Yes. So light, I'm just like, oh, there's a crack in the curtains. I can't sleep.
I can't sleep. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Yeah.
That is true. It's like, oh, there's one little ray of light shining over there in the corner. Ugh.
Yeah.
If I have busy brain.
About that, or if like, you know, your husband's making noise in the kitchen or something and you're like, what is that? Stop making that noise, you know?
Oh, I am very sensitive to sound.
Interesting, because that's all connected in the head. I was curious about that. Yeah, the sound. Now Taurus is like rules the senses. And that's another thing I was curious about with you, with your rising sign too. And especially Aries, like being Aries is ruled by Mars. So Aries has a tendency out of all of the other signs to get triggered quickly. We all get triggered, right? But like Aries is like, I'm going to be reactive to the trigger.
Stop being mean. It's called an immediate response. It's not a reaction. Okay.
Immediate response. Okay, yes. The more matured way of saying that.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if like you embody any of that, especially with Taurus, you're going to be sensitive to senses. Taurus rules the senses because it loves pleasure, so because it's a fixed sign. So, you know, the taste of things, the sound of things, the smell of things, seeing beautiful things, touch. You know, I'm just curious how you embody that, or have you seen a change in that also just through your yoga practice and being more mindful?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely with my practice.
Yeah.
It's the one time I can settle in and just stop,
Yeah.
connect, get back into my body, or instead of being so much outside of myself. Sometimes I feel like I'm outside of myself because I have so many ideas or things I'd like to do. And
Yeah.
it's the one time I can really settle in and
Yeah.
kind of just feel my feet on the ground, feel my breath, connect with where I'm at, and then pick out 6 of the 400 things that are in there that are pertinent, that can actually happen,
Yeah.
slow down. But I also find that if I'm able to now, what are the words I'm looking for? Notice more when that vata starts to happen, that float starts to happen, and I'm about to ready to hover and fly away.
Yeah.
That I now have more tools
Yeah.
to get myself grounded again.
So do you recognize when the burnout's coming
Oh
now
gosh, yeah.
versus
Yeah.
just being like, I have to go lay down now? Like, are you like, okay, I know that I'm gonna need rest tonight. Are you allowing yourself that?
Oh yeah. I had a health incident. I had a heart attack in 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Every year that was. And I used to just push through
Yeah.
everything. Just push, make sure, I got this, I can do it. If I just have one more cup of coffee, if I just whatever,
Yeah.
and push and just make things happen.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, it'll still be there. Nobody else is, trust me, no one else is gonna do it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yep. It's
And just stopping, actually noticing it and taking time. I want to move myself a little bit. I gotta
Yeah.
wrap my legs around myself. But noticing when it's happening and just being aware of it and just saying, whatever, it's just stop.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Just curious about that.
I mean, I will still, if there's a project like last night, for example, QuickBooks and I had a party, and QuickBooks is not my friend, but I stuck with QuickBooks anyway, and we finished it. Even when I wanted to quit, and I was like, this has to and I am very good at just-in-time management. Like I know exactly like what the deadline is, and I can backwards plan from there and then not start 1 minute earlier.
Yeah. Good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So good. There's a lot of movement right now in the sky with Aries. You just had your birthday.
I did.
On Sunday, the 26th.
Sunday.
Yes, happy birthday.
Double nickels, baby.
Nice. As my daughter would tell me, that's a palindrome.
Right.
I'm like, okay. Yeah, last night she was talking to me about those. So, there's a lot of movement in the sky right now and a lot of, not pressure, but like connection with certain planets. So your sun and your Aries is the 12th house. So that helps you go inward more with your intuition. And you have a sun there, you have Saturn in Aries, and you have Mars in Aries as well. And so there's a lot of emphasis so when we talk about that, they're stationary. They stay in the 12th house. Those stay there. That's what you were born with. So then we talk about transits, and that means that the current happenings in the universe where things are moving is the sun is going over. And when your sun meets your sun, that's a birthday. So that's That's called a conjunction. Okay. So when the current sun meets your born sun conjunction, that's a new beginning. That is a solar return or returning. And right now, Mercury is in Aries and Jupiter is in Aries. So Mercury is communication, and Mercury and Jupiter are meeting in the skies tonight. So tonight, when you look outside and you see Jupiter, actually, we may not be able to see Jupiter right now because it's setting with the sun-ish, but we have been seeing it in the sky. Jupiter is expansion and it's good luck and it is blessing. So today, Mercury and Jupiter are meeting, and today we're filming this. I should be more specific. We're actually connecting on Tuesday, March 28th. So when we
2023.
What was that?
2023.
2023. Yes, thank you for watching this in the
For the
year.
archives and the future.
And so when that happens, it comes into your 12th house. So it's transiting, it's moving through your 12th house, and it's going over these planets. It's connecting with your Mars and your action. You were born with the perfect placement of Mars and Aries because Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars was just in when Mars is in Cancer right now, and it feels weird because it doesn't belong there. It doesn't feel good. Cancer is water, Mars is fire. But right now, Mars is in Cancer. But right now, Mercury and Jupiter, the planet of communication, the planet of expansiveness, are traveling through your 12th house. And so you have a lot of emphasis there, and it's interesting because the 12th house is a very introverted house because it's a Pisces house, but Aries is very extroverted. So do you ever feel a fluctuation between I want to be out in the world, sharing my ideas and creativity and be around everybody versus I need to be home in my cocoon?
Oh, heck.
I
am an extroverted house cat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Meaning I can go out, and when I have to be on, I can be on. But I also have, we just went to a function last week.
Yeah.
And it was people I did not know and people that were not interested in anything because it's all about me. We're not interested in.
Yes, Aries. Yes.
Yes. It's all about me. They didn't ask me any questions. And so I get a little social anxiety in those things. It was a fussy, formal affair. And so sometimes I get a little social anxiety for that kind of stuff. But I also really when I'm home, I'm home.
Yeah.
I am done. But I can go out, put myself out in the world, do what I need to do.
Yeah.
Excite people where they need to be.
Yeah.
Lit up a little bit. Listen, all the things that need to happen for the work that I'm doing. But I also need a hard recharge. We went to the lake this weekend.
Yeah.
That's my recharge. That's my water.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Little escape, your cottage on the lake. Yeah. Your little cabin.
Yeah.
So good to have.
Yeah. So that is my escape. That's where I go to recharge. That's where I need to just be do all the things. I didn't do any writing this time, but I usually do a lot of writing when I'm there.
Yeah.
Getting stuff done, just getting productive things done. But it's really a place for me to recharge, or just even last summer, I spent the month of July there, and every day I went swimming just to get in the water. Every day I had to be somewhere on the water somehow, some way. And so that's really water is a place where I recharge. We went to the ocean recently, and I was we just walk on the water, by the water the whole time.
By the water, smelling it, feeling the ions of it, hearing it, engaging your senses, Miss Taurus rising. Yeah, that's beautiful. And that Pisces too, your Pisces moon connects to water. I mean, our moon is our emotional self, and it's how we recharge. The moon, that can really, when you start to study your moon, and that is a way that you can understand how you heal. And when we look at the sign that is our moon, like Pisces, I mean, water would be really healing for you. Creative outlets would be really healing for you. And you have a Virgo moon, so
Mhm.
writing, talking, using your mind, analyzing,
Oh, yeah.
but also in service to others
Yeah.
would be healing to you
That's,
too.
that's really true.
Taking
Overdo
care of
those
your
things as
health.
well.
Yeah, yeah. But then we can overdo them. And that brings me to my Taurus moon and my need for pleasurable foods
Oh,
and
Oh,
treats
I
and
love.
comfort.
Oh, yep.
Totally. Because then we go on the flip side when it becomes
yeah,
like
exactly.
too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that lands a
You
lot.
give too much and then you're done. Yeah. Then you have nothing left.
Yeah. Or it becomes an addiction.
Depleted. Yep.
So the addiction where it's hard to release because it emotionally fulfills us. And that could be a whole nother show on moons. Okay.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's really interesting. Rounding back to Aries, no, I'm kidding.
Come on, it's about me.
Last question before we move into looking at our reflection on March is we met in the summer of 2020 and well, we didn't meet, we met in 2019 actually. So at the end of our graduation, it was near like June or something, June or July. I
Mhm.
can't remember. We did a reading, or maybe it was May. I can't remember. It was in 2020, start of COVID, right?
That whole year, yeah. There was, you could just say the year and then it's all the months
Yeah.
the same day.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you guys were the light of my soul, partially of that whole year, like the whole ending 300-hour, like having that to come back to. But I read your chart. We talked a lot about astrology. I just was wondering, like, how has knowing your chart that you were born with, your nature, maybe changed your yoga practice or evolved it or your business too, like owning transitions yoga. How does knowing your astrology affect yoga or your everyday life? Any insight into that?
I think it answered a lot. Initially, it answered a lot of questions for me, or just things that I intuitively kind of thought. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, totally makes sense. It's not that explained a lot of the drive, explained a lot of the emotional side of it, the need for just, it explained a lot of small things that had been happening my entire life. And at the same time, it was like, oh, so you're good. Like you're already on the right, you're moving more toward where you need to be. And you just needed to learn all those other things before.
Yeah.
Life is fun that way. And then since then, I love the annual. I know we talked about this, but I like the upcoming year, and then just taking the year ahead, and then taking the reflection back sometimes and looking at it and seeing like, oh, there it was. Or just as things happen, you're like, there it is. And trying not to force things, but more as a reflective piece as it comes into it.
Mm-hmm.
I know I have actually contacted you in the past. People do not call her. She only does this for me. Okay. Hey, Serena, I got an idea. Would this day or this day be better for it?
I love those questions. Like,
yeah.
That is what I want people to do, is kind of understand that there is power and magic behind dates, of getting things started, and it has a birth. Like everything has a birth chart. The start of your 300-hour program. I mean, we talked about some dates, like when would be good to start, what time should I send this email out so that, I get the communication out there, or what day should we start for this type of training or this event, and that's the power and magic of astrology, knowing that,
Yeah. And that's helped a lot. Just those little pieces with that.
Yeah.
We do a lot of, we have it's a very simple thing to say, Sigrid. What is it? Sound bath acupuncture class that we're doing. And the first, we're trying to do it full moons because more vibration. And especially if you've got the needles that we're doing now is a 4 gates. So it's one of the one in each hand, one in a foot, and then one in the third eye. And so
Cool.
with the vibration of the sound and plus the additional vibration or the vibrancy of the moon and a full moon doing that,
Yeah.
but also trying to do it. We've got a second one coming up and it's more on a new moon. So I'm trying to put together how the frequency, or not the frequency, but the vibration will be a little bit less,
Mhm.
but still making it more about setting new intentions. Like how
Yeah.
are we going to move it? So maybe creating
Mhm.
meditation more about new intentions, what you want happening in the next month. How do you want to move forward into this new space that we're moving into as we go back into the light?
Yeah, because the new moon is more introspective and it is honoring our meditative state. So that vibrational energy would go really well with that. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so that's like just trying to make sure that when we do those kind of things, that it's more intentional, not just like, how
Yeah.
about Friday at 5:30 on the 16th?
Yeah. But
Why?
sometimes
Because
we
we have
choose those
time.
dates and we
We
didn't
align it.
realize
Yeah.
that it was so synchronistic. Have you ever done that? And you're like, oh my gosh, wow, I did that
Oh,
on
yeah.
that particular full moon or new moon. And it was magic. We just did it, you know? So either way, you can work with the dates or if it just randomly happens too, but that's more in the flow of life too, and the divinity of life. But running
Yeah.
a business, yeah, you kind of want to feel into that cycle.
And Stephanie does in the summer, she does a full moon float. So
Yeah.
it's a subclass, but it's under the full moon. And yeah,
That's
and
why I
then
need to move.
doing meditation, except winter's shit here. Meditation to go with that, but also
So
I
cool.
think she has someone out there. Sometimes she'll have music out there too, someone playing live music
Awesome.
for that class.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just, it's kind of trying to, and she is very good about that. She'd be like, no, it's based on this. And I'm like, all right, got it.
Yeah.
Or the other, that stupid Mercury in retrograde. Yeah.
Yes, I know those, and just knowing those dates is
Mhm.
important to know that.
Or sometimes I'll be like, what is the going on right now? And they'll be like, oh, there it is.
Here it is. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Speaking of that, March was such an intense month. I mean, so many people that I talked to just went through so much, so many changes, so many illnesses, so many reflections, changes with jobs and relationships. And
Yes, I agree. So many, there was so many things, people just blew stuff up.
yeah.
Or let go. A lot of it was I let go of a lot of things. Just like I'm done.
Yeah,
it.
yeah, letting go,
Done.
exactly. Because it really, we ended Pisces season and we started Aries season, which Pisces season is endings. It's the end of cycles. It's surrendering. It's letting go. And because we're making room for birth, for Aries to be born. And I don't know, like March, when I look at it, you know, when we do the year ahead report, I'm like, look at March, you know, because March is one of the most potent months next to the eclipses, right? So the eclipses in April, May, and then October. And so why don't we take some time to sort of reflect back on the bigger happenings in March? And if you want to think back to like look in your phone or something in calendar as to like what happened, but March started with a full moon in Virgo and Saturn moving into Pisces on March 7th. Because it's Pisces season, the Virgo full moon is the opposite. That was your moon. And then the big shift with Saturn moving into Pisces. So Saturn is the planet of discipline and maturity. So it makes us grow up in the house that it's moving through. And it's a malefic planet, so it doesn't feel good, right? Jupiter is benefic, so that's a benefit. If it does feel good, it's like, oh, opportunities, yay, good luck. And Saturn is like, get to work. If you don't do the work, you're not going to earn the prize.
Yep.
So that day, the full moon in Virgo, Saturn moved into Pisces, and Saturn moves every 2.5, 3 years. So it had been in Aquarius for a long time, since December 2020. So that day was a very significant day for me. Of course, I'm a sun in Virgo. So that day I had like 3.5 hour meeting about my website. I was like trained with the Squarespace expert on my website, which was really intense. I'm still kind of working through that. And then I also had to fill out some paperwork. I got a promotion at work into manager. Whoop, whoop. And then also I started my period, which was amazing, the full moon. And then also I got violently ill. So like the next day, it was an initiation to the end of March, to the end of Pisces season for me, because I was literally sick for like 12 days, starting the next day. Big movement for me just as a Virgo, and we bought a camper and I met with a new person the next day for a new opportunities and a new yoga studio. So it was just like opening up doors, but also it said, you're going to get sick because you have to process everything. You have to go through all of this. I mean, I had to slow down. My whole body was like, get in the womb. You need to rest and take care of yourself before you can be reborn, which the rebirth was Sun in Aries. Anything happened for you? Full moon. This was your moon. So
yeah.
yeah.
I would say for me, it felt that time more logistical. So
Good word for Virgo.
Yeah, more logistical. Two things were significant around the Virgo full moon. I booked flights to 2 different locations. I took a trip back to Ohio just recently, and which is where I'm originally from. And I also booked a flight to Maui that will be a family trip at the beginning of June. So those were 2 logistical things that I just needed a little kick in the ass to kind of get done. So I think I used the energy of the full moon to kind of get those going with my Virgo moon. So that feels significant around that. And another piece of logisticalness is I applied for the second half of my coaching program, which is Coactive Training Institute, CTI. And on that day of the full moon, I did all my arranging for the program itself is 6 months long, and we have weekly pod meetings. So there were 8 options to choose from for the weekly pods. And this is an international program, so some of the times are at 2 a.m. So I really had to really look at what is feasible within my schedule. So I had to really do a lot of lookout, how will this fit in, and then rank my 8 choices, and then coordinate it with a friend of mine who's also doing the program. So a lot of logistics,
a lot of coordination. And that's what Virgo, any sort of Virgo or Earth moon is good for.
Yeah.
Get your to-do list done. Knock it out. Yeah. Wow. Plus it was your moon.
That's a lot.
Yeah, around just a 2.5 day time frame. So
yeah,
plus work and
normal life stuff.
Yeah.
Who needs to eat? That's so stupid. Take care of other people, whatever.
Seriously. Yeah.
Pisces. You are Pisces. Always.
Keep somebody alive somewhere.
Yeah. So Pisces is also your sun sign, but like you have a lot of Pisces, Venus and Pisces as well. I think you have Mercury in Pisces. So Saturn is moving into this house for you, which is your family house. So Saturn is moving over your what?
Yes.
Trip to Maui.
But Saturn is like, you're going to have to face the work that needs to be done in the home, in the family.
Yep.
So that's going to be big. Okay.
It will be. Yeah.
Yep. Tonja. Yeah.
Maybe I'll get my floors done. Hi, Jordan. I'm ready for you. Hope you're ready.
Keep remembering that. We've been talking about that.
Actually, that would be probably.
It's a good time to get her done.
To get it going. And there's a few other home
small
logistic things that I want to get done. I can have the just the sense of like, I can visualize what the space could look like, and I just want to do it all.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to just really siphon out what's really attainable energy, money wise. So
good. Yeah. I mean, looking at Saturn, like it's in my 10th house. So it's like, that's logistical of like, just, it's going to be, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I got promoted to manager, and then I'm adding in all these new classes and like restructuring and just a lot work. I mean, Saturn is like, do the work, be mature about it. and step up to the plate. So for my purpose in life, that's the 10th house. That's Saturn is like, you're going to have to get serious, but yes, I hear you, Mr. Saturn. And so for you, Sigrid, you know, looking at, why don't we look at, you know, the full moon? Do you remember anything around March 7th at all? Like, and it doesn't have to be on that day, right? It could be around that day because the energy is like the weekend before, like.
We did that. That's when we did our first sound and acupuncture class. And it was,
Cool.
it was pretty amazing. We
Good.
did that on the 9th. We did it 2 days after the full moon.
Yep.
So cool.
We had a training plan that we had to move because snow.
Yeah.
That got moved, and now that it's moved, it's filling up more. So that's lovely to see for Tara.
Good.
Yeah, just getting super focused. We planned a lot of stuff for May. I've got some stuff from April, a lot of things filled in for April.
Yeah.
And I'm actually trying to like see what we can honestly do well instead of just do. Like there's a difference between doing stuff and doing stuff well. So making sure that happens. I think around that time is when we had one of our favorite teachers had to step back because some things happened in her life that made her realize that she's got to take a step back. And so it was like, so filling in the gaps there.
Yeah.
But just feeling really busy. It felt really busy. And I feel this whole month has been feels very busy. Yeah. And then on like the 20th, oh, well, this makes more sense. On the 23rd, I had that acupuncture session on myself, on my person.
Oh.
And I was in there and I'm hooked. I'm on my belly in the little thing like this, right?
Yeah.
And it's got pins in my hands and my back and my butt and all these places. And I go, oh my God. I need a piece of paper. He's like, what? I need a piece of paper right now. So he's like, oh, okay. And then he hands it to me. He goes, how are you going to write? I don't know, but my hands are full of needles.
That's amazing.
You're like, grab it. I'm going to tell.
I was like, but I have a whole bunch of ideas in my head right now and I have to get them all on a piece of paper. And he's blah, 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 blah. He goes, well, can't you do it when I leave? I go, if I leave this room, it leaves my head. And he's like, okay, noted. Yeah. So
oh my God. So you mentioned, okay, you just
that
said
was it. Yeah.
that was March 23rd.
Yep.
Holy shit. Okay. So Pluto moved into Aquarius that day. And Aquarius is your purpose in life, your Dharma house. So that's my Pisces house. That's your Dharma house. It literally lit a fire because Pluto is considered like, I mean, the transformation.
Is Pluto even real? Let's just talk about that. Is Pluto even real? Is it really a planet, Serena?
You know what? It's considered a dwarf planet and it's really offended by that.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine.
I don't know. You tell me. The fire has exploded. Transformation. Pluto said,
"Oh my
"I'm gonna
gosh,
open up new realms to you."
It was
That's insane. That's so cool.
ridiculous.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I came up with a whole fall
Amazing
program. Like it was like and a workshop. I had like a whole like weekend workshop thing come down, and then a whole other program come down, and the whole something else come down, and like all the things you want to do. And he's just like, no, it was funny. He's like, are you okay? And I was like, no, I'm not okay. You don't know what's happening. And it was like that. You don't know what's happening in here.
Go tell him next time you see him that Pluto moved into Aquarius. Okay. And see what
like, well, that's cool.
Be like, okay, I gotta stop seeing you now. You're weird.
He has to see me once a month. I'm on a plan.
Right. Oh my God. That's so funny. You're like, you're locked in. Yeah. Sorry, bud.
Yeah, but it was funny. I was face down and I was like, he hands me the paper and I've got needles in my hand. I go, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. It's in here.
Amazing.
I'll leave you some paper in the room and a pen before you go.
So good. So good. that's we jumped ahead a little bit, but that was the 23rd when Pluto moved into Aquarius. So checking that portion of your chart, but let's step back to Aries season, that significant shift from water to fire. The sun went into Aries on the 20th, and then there was a new moon on the 21st in Aries. This is significant because this new moon is connected to the new moon eclipse on April 20th. So looking back on April 20th, 21st or March 21st, last week, a week from today, that gives you a little feeling of what the eclipse could play out to be around April 20th. So that's really important. Where's Aries in your chart, and that's your 12th house, Sigrid. So, the 12th house of spirituality, the 12th house of being in the womb, the 12th house of secrets, connecting with a higher source or higher being in our life, or this consciousness. So, looking back to last week, Monday and Tuesday, do you feel like you got a little flavor of what's to come? And like April 20th would be a really good time as a new moon, and especially for you, Sigrid, to get to your cabin if you can, because it's a big eclipse. It's ruled by Mars. I never recommend big events around that time because it can be intense.
Oh, well, that's going to be a problem then.
What is it? Training weekend?
Oh, no, it's not training weekend, but I only have something planned, 3 events planned, like one Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's nothing really.
Okay, you need to schedule in some like a pedicure, or like go and sit in someone's hot tub or take a bath. Schedule in some rest time, because that is huge. Huge.
Yeah, we've got a sound bath. I'm speaking at a metaphysical event, metaphysical and wellness event, and then Earth Day class at Plant Perfect at one of the greenhouses. We're doing a class up there, a yoga class.
At least it's in the realm, It sounds so fulfilling, and it's not like a government event or like, something that doesn't fill your soul. So that
does not.
Yeah.
Very far from filling my soul.
A
lot of rules with that, and I can't do. I'm not awesome with rules.
Yeah.
FYI, in case you were curious, didn't understand that.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Well, good. What about you? Anything significant around the 20th, 21st?
That is when I flew to Ohio. I flew to Ohio actually on both days. I flew out of Colorado on the 20th and flew into Ohio on the 21st, late.
Wow.
So
that is late if you were overnight. Jeez,
yeah, it was. No, I don't recommend that for myself in the future.
Good to know.
What was also really significant is that day I found out which pod I got into for my coaching. So it feels like if that's kind of the energy of what the eclipse is going to be about, I'm kind of pumped. And then the first day, I know I'm jumping ahead, but the first day of my pod is on April 20th, the day of the eclipse.
Love that you said that, because that is a deep connection to that significance. I mean, you found out the pod on the 20th, 21st, the new moon, new beginnings, rebirth, and then starting on the eclipse. I mean, the new moon, Aries, new moon, Aries. I mean, that is powerful.
It's powerful.
And that's why I love sharing this like podcast or whatever we want to call this, but showing those significant cycles in your life that happen that way. They're not always happening that way, but finding that rhythm that they are connected. That's so cool.
So to me, it just feels like affirmation that I am on the right path.
Absolutely. Like in alignment. Oh my gosh. Thanks for mentioning that. That's so cool. So we're in the thick of new beginnings for sure. And like Sigrid mentioned, March 23rd, big day, big downloads. I was all geared up that day, last Thursday, for something like tragic to happen. And I don't know why. Like that, sometimes that's the hard part of astrology, is that even being an astrologer, I understand that it's like, it's not necessarily fated, right? Like we have free will. We can work with things. And I was in a place of just like, I don't know, what could something happen? Because Pluto is the planet, it's similar to Mars. It's a malefic, it's a planet of destruction. But when I started like leaning more into that understanding of Pluto being transformational, it's like the rise of the phoenix, right?
Yeah,
So
why does it have to be destruction is bad? It could be just like
Exactly.
destructing something that's
Right.
garbage and you don't need
Yeah.
anymore.
100%. Exactly.
Mindset, Serena mindset.
Mindset. I'm working, I was working on that. But then I moved into Friday into a training I did. And it really is like Pluto is destructing the shadow. It is taking away the fear. And a big part of that is Kali. Yeah. Working with that Kali energy in order for rebirth, the creation. And I went into the weekend and I did a yoga nidra training, 20-hour training. And that was really significant for me in changing my bigger perspective. So Aquarius for me is my 9th house. And the 9th house is philosophy. It is spirituality. It's similar. It's like putting into words your beliefs, your belief system. And so it helped me in my rest, understanding rest and yogic sleep more, change and shift my wider perspective on all of that, like spirituality and my belief system. So I'm looking forward to see what Pluto does for me in that house. And then lastly, Mars moved into Cancer on the 25th, which was Saturday. Just wanted to mention this. We don't really have to go over it that much, but Mars is action and energy. And Mars was in Gemini since August 2022. That's significant because Mars usually only stays in a sign for like 7 to 8 weeks. And Mars was there for like 7 months or something, 6 or 7 months, because it went into the sign early, went almost to the end of Gemini, and then backtracked to the beginning of Gemini and then came back. So Mars did a retrograde and then came back. That's why it was so significant. Mars was in Gemini, and that was in my 1st house. And I was much more triggered and reactive and running my mouth. I was ready to fight. And I'm never like that. I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh, Mars is in the 1st house. I am ready to rage. But now that Mars is back into Cancer, look into where Gemini was in your chart, so you can kind of get an understanding. Which, so let's see, Sigrid, Gemini for you is your 2nd house because Taurus is your 1st house. So 2nd house is just basic needs, income. Did you notice any income fluctuation over the past 6-7 months? With the studio or anything? That's like the basic foundation. You don't have to say if you don't want, it's okay, but
Not that feels significant.
yeah.
We did slow down. Now we're only doing we were doing 2 weekends a month. We either had a 200 program, or starting in January we did 200, 300.
Yeah.
And now we are down to, since February, we had 4 weeks off.
Wow.
4 weekends in a row off, which for Stephanie and I,
That's
there
huge.
were points we were like, what are you doing?
So good.
What are you doing this weekend? I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh my gosh, I don't know what to do.
I'm home. I think there's going to be more cooking and some cleaning. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Hopefully something fun.
Yeah.
So maybe in that realm is the fact that we're only doing 1 training, but I think the reduction in that income from that is forcing us to look at to expand our programming.
Yeah.
To just the everyday student, which is not really what I'm trying to say, but to students that are just not in the teacher training programs. So expanding our programming there.
Yeah.
Which has been really lovely. Trying to make just bring more information to people, bring more fun things that are significant, instead of just, like you said, inversion classes, but just bring things that feel a little more significant, a little bit different, trying to be more creative.
You know, one thing
And
would
get
be
people
fun-
back in the studio. That's really what I've noticed a lot is the,
Yeah.
the pace has started to pick up again as far as
Yeah.
people
Well,
showing up.
plus you had a winter, like you guys have had an intense winter and people are
As soon as this breaks, we're not gonna see nobody,
right? Oh my gosh, crazy.
including me. Yeah.
One thing that would be fun is to look at the birth of Transitions Yoga, the LLC. When you establish that, that's the birth chart. Looking when you, or whatever it was, like when you
Fascinating.
registered as a business, that's the birth chart of your business.
It'd be like, oh,
And we can-
2000.
Yeah.
I would have to look, because again, here we go back to the dates that we started with the beginning. We either started in 17 or 16.
Yeah.
We
It'd
moved
be
back
fun
to
to look
Bismarck on
at-
April 15th. I know that,
Yeah.
but I can't, maybe it was 17 or I don't know. But I feel like we've been open 7 years and this will be our 8th year coming into when October's when we of 18,
Yeah.
17. I don't freaking know, Serena. I lose track. That seems
No,
like
but
a
we can
detail.
look at that another time. I'm just curious. You know, we could
Seems
always
like a
run
detail.
chart. Yeah, running a chart for that, because like you can Google like United States of America chart, you know, like for the Declaration of Independence, it has its own chart.
Yeah.
So like what we go through, you know, and so sometimes people will use astrologers to birth a business. Like I birthed Life Cycles Yoga with Sagittarius rising, you know, because I knew that I wanted to like be ruled by Jupiter. So yeah, there's certain things to do, but so
now I gotta go look that up.
totally, I know.
Thanks for the rabbit hole. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Happy to share. So Gemini for you is what was that again?
I believe it's my
Oh, your
seventh
seventh
house, yeah.
house. So relationships. Oh my God, the
Mhm.
seventh house is big. Like it's a relationship house. And so Mars went through there for like 6-7 months.
Okay.
Did you feel a shift of that pressure? Like, did you like what happened during that time? That I mean, looking back, you know, it was relationship with the other. Oh,
2015. I'm completely no idea when I moved here.
wow. Okay. We'll definitely look at that.
There you go.
So relationships.
Over the last 7 months?
Yeah, since August 2022.
Okay.
I mean, we don't have to go through everything, but do you
Yeah.
feel like there was action and energy behind that? And with Mars there the whole time.
Would this be like intimate relationships or would it be friendships or?
I don't know. We don't need to know about that.
Close one-on-one relationships. So like
okay.
it does rule marriage, it rules partnership, it rules best friend or like relationships like close ones, the
Close
one-on-one.
ones, okay.
Not just general friendships. That's like the
Okay.
11th house.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say just if we're looking at like a romantic partnership, I think I definitely went through a shift in terms of just I don't know, so the importance feels like it has less charge around it. It's a
Mhm.
shift in the kind of charge I feel
Yeah.
around it.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that there's been almost like, you know, just a habit of trying to continue to look for something. And I've felt very shifted in that I just don't feel as much energy behind it anymore.
Yeah.
It feels like a low.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, the flame isn't high to
Yeah.
like seek and find. The flame is
Low.
slower.
Yeah.
And just seeing what happens.
Good. Yeah, and that's big too, because Mars moved out of there into Cancer now. So
Okay.
there's not
Yeah,
so
yeah.
much emphasis on that
Okay.
on your 7th house.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah,
Nice. Okay,
yeah.
so we go into Cancer.
Yeah, so it went into house,
Okay,
which we're
yeah.
going to chat about next month. But so, you know, we are running on time here. I just kind of want to running out of time. I mean, so I wanted to mention a little bit about April astrology. And we move into April, and that is Aries season. And then we move into Taurus season. So we're saying hello to spring, right? The spring equinox. I just put up a yoga nidra for the spring equinox on the YouTube channel if you're interested in that, to kind of move into the realm of that energy. And yoga nidra is yogic sleep, so it's a guided meditation to go a little bit deeper into your consciousness. And so April is a little bit calmer than March, but minus the eclipses, right? The first eclipse was on April 20th, second eclipse is on May 5th. So April 3rd, Mercury moves into Taurus. So Mercury right now is in Aries, where we sometimes don't have a filter. So Aries is brave enough to say what they need to say. Secret.
Filter, kind of. Mostly,
Who knows?
sort of.
And then Mercury enters Taurus and they say what they want to say, but in a way that it's fixed. So it's like, you're not going to change the way I think. You're not going to change the way that I, my perspective. So, but it's also an earthy sign. So notice how your communication style may shift at that time. Then on April 6th, we have a Libra full moon. Because we're in Aries season, so it's the opposite of Aries. Libra is the opposite of Aries. Aries is the relationship to the self, and it's I, me, I am. And then Libra is the relationship to the other. We are together. My relationship to you. So where do you find that harmony? Where do you find that balance? So that'll be big for relationships. They'll be on the energetic horizon for that full moon.
Libra is my husband's sun sign.
Oh yeah, your husband. Yeah, that's a whole nother discussion we need to have. Your Aries sun, and he's the opposite. He's Libra sun. So wow, blows me away. Be fun to look at your charts together for synastry, which is lovely.
Everybody needs to know what's happening there.
Totally. April 11th, Venus enters Gemini. So Venus is in Taurus right now, where it really loves to be because it rules Taurus. And so Venus enters Gemini, where it's more chaotic in relationships, and there's love options. So there's lots of options, but also in relationships, we maybe have two sides to our relationships when Venus enters Gemini. And Venus will be going through your relationship house. It's a really nice time. April 11th. Yeah, it'll be nice. April 20th, of course, is the Aries new moon solar eclipse. It's ruled by Mars. Also the eclipse on May 5th, the Scorpio full moon eclipse is ruled by Mars. Both of these eclipses ruled by Mars. I'm just curious what's going to happen out in the world, honestly. April 20th is a significant date. Another plug to go Google April 20th history. April 20th is a significant date. There are two big things that I can talk about. It's Adolf Hitler's birthday. And also the Columbine shootings happened on that day too. So what are we going to see?
On 420? Weed Day? On 420 on Weed Day?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So checking out April 20th, the history of that, there's a lot of stuff that happened in World War II around that date as well. So I'm not going to spend the time going through it, but if you're interested, look up April 20th and so just that's significant. So I'm curious if that energy is going to happen around that time. What violence will we see in this world? I don't know why that date is such a vibration, but ruled by Mars. 2 weeks later, May 5th, another full moon eclipse in Scorpio ruled by Mars. So let's see what happens. Plug here, Eclipse Circle on April 16th. It's a Sunday night. Eclipse Circles I hold for people to sign up. You get a personalized eclipse chart. We all come together, all of us friends together on Zoom, and the eclipse chart, I share a slideshow of the energies and information and the qualities of these eclipses, and then you can kind of create that framework and guidance around the eclipse. Eclipses are big shifts in our life, or they're little shifts that we don't even recognize that are happening. It's path changers. So that's a really nice way to give you some framework around that. And then April 20th, same day, Sun enters Taurus. Yeah, big day,
Big day.
huge day. Shift in the life force. The life force then enters Taurus. So that's Sun, the second month of spring. And then April 21st, Mercury moves into Taurus and it goes retrograde the same day until May 14th. My goodness, those 2 days are really big. That weekend is really big. So yeah, just check it out. We'll come back here, you know, May 1st to discuss what was happening and what was going on. I'm excited for that. You guys want to mention anything? Like, how do your Aprils look at all?
Busy,
Yeah.
Busy.
Likewise.
Yeah.
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 but with good stuff.
Good stuff. Okay, good.
Stuff that's fresh and new and challenging. I'm teaching a couple of privates on the 1st that are for vision impaired, and I'm honestly kind of I'm nervous about it,
Yeah.
but also very excited because it's something I haven't done, but I know I can do it, but I haven't done it, and it's something that
Yeah.
feels really good working with bringing the practice someplace that sometimes feels left out.
Yeah. And you know what? My aunt worked with visually impaired children, and she had a book, actually, Yoga for the Visually Impaired. I'll find out what the name of it is and who the author is. And that might be a good resource. I know it's a little late right now because you're on April 1st.
You can read it to me over Zoom. That would be great.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'll connect her with you for sure. But that might be a good resource if you're going to continue. You know, what a fantastic opportunity to make that accessible to that population. 100%. That's really, it's
Yeah,
great.
I'm excited to see what it blossoms into. So we've got some places that we're trying to move into and make differences for.
Good. Beautiful. That's exciting. Yay.
Awesome.
Awesome. All right. Well, just thinking about the yoga for the month of April, you know, Aries season is the head. Pranayama would be really good, cleaning out the sinuses, you know, and I really love like sun piercing breath or moon piercing breath using the hands, clean out the sinuses, the head, and it can help with headaches as well. And you know, headstands. No, I'm kidding. Not everybody does headstands, but you know,
Inversions are inversions. You can do a
Inversion.
wide-legged forward fold. Plus your
Yep,
forward
all
plus, or You
inversion.
can do wide-legged. That's an inversion.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Fun.
Yeah,
I'll
and
do it.
good, absolutely. Yeah, all those things. And you know, touching the forehead to the mat in child's pose is really nice. And like, you know, touching upon that marma point on the forehead where you can kind of just give a little massage on your mat, moving your head back and forth. Yeah, and those inversions, really good idea. Rabbit pose is one pose I chose for Aries season because I love that we try to touch our forehead or the crown of the head to a block or the floor. And rabbit is really nice for springtime, you know, this connection with rebirth, with the animals coming back out of hibernation, the flowers and everything. Yeah. So those might be some fun things to try for Aries season. And also the kumbhaka breath, which a kumbhaka is, it's an intentional hold, or this breath is also called the square breath or the 4 square breath, where you inhale for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4, and hold for a count of 4. It's like a square. So that intentional hold, and the intentional hold is so we don't get so hot-headed with Mars ruling this season. Take a breath, take a pause. So.
Awesome.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Sigrid, for joining us today.
Awesome.
I'm really grateful to have you in my life, that our stars cross. I'm really grateful for you, Tonja.
I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful to meet you, Sigrid. And we
Oh, I'm so glad to meet you, Miss
North
Tonja.
Dakota to transitions yoga.
Oh, yeah.
We have a few things happening. We can travel. We can come to Colorado. I suppose that would be all right too.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. And Tonja and I love road trips.
We
So
do.
I see this in
We
our
do.
future for sure. We could pull my new camper. No, we'll just stay with Sigrid. It's fine.
There's room at the end. You know that, right?
Well,
There's always
staying
room
at
at the end.
Sigrid's is like a bed and breakfast. One
Sweet.
morning I just woke up and there was this beautiful coffee on my side table. I mean, it was just so loving. It's just so awesome.
Okay, I'm in.
That's the next thing. So Sigrid should open up a retreat center
breakfast. Oh,
for yoga.
yes.
Amazing.
I don't think there's a, yep. If I could have 4 more rooms at the lake,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Amazing. Yeah. Seriously. Well,
Yeah.
good. Everybody have a happy April. Thanks for watching and subscribe to the channel. Connect with us if you're interested in Life Cycles Yoga as well. We meet every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 6 a.m. I'll also put a link to Sigrid's website if you're in the area or want to go up for some of her fantastic offerings.
we do have online classes too. We do have a
Online.
we have a lot of classes that are still online. That was the one good thing from
Oh,
that year
awesome.
that happened, is that we were
Yeah.
forced to be online, and it's actually still a very viable option for us. That we have a lot of people I have people I haven't seen in ever.
How?
I just see their name on a little black square.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's so awesome.
Mhm.
Gosh, the power of the internet, this power of
Yeah.
technology,
It does have
it's,
power. Mhm.
it's magical. And that's one of the good things that came out of COVID, honestly, if we're looking
Yeah.
at that. Yeah, for sure. I would have never known what Zoom is if COVID didn't
I
happen.
had no idea what Zoom was. Except that's what your dog did when it ran around the living room. Ooh, I got this-
The Zooming. Yeah, exactly.
Who knew it was about talking face to face? That was what FaceTime was for.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh
Cool.
my
Well,
goodness.
You guys have a lovely week, and thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it. It was fun to hang out with you. Nice to see you, Serena, and again, nice to meet you, Miss Tanya.
Yes, you as well.
Yes, that's my little from the leftover from the South, Miss Tanya.
All right. Thank you so much, friends. We'll see you next time.
Bye,
Take care.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.